Well, hello. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How you doing? This is your one and only Facebook Minister Eric Robinson Jr. Stepped on here. Today is Wednesday. And you know, I'm for to get ready to do. We should have ourselves a little heart-to-heart talk. Well, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I was like, God, I know you gave me a vision about what to talk about, what to teach on, but what is it? And the conversation that happened and popped up happens to be the particular topic. So I thank God for using this person to confirm what I need to talk about. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? Will be the topic of talk for today. Scripture that we're using today will be coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Some of y'all may be familiar with it. For those who may not be familiar with it, I will read two versions of this scripture for you to get an understanding of what's being said. Because I know y'all ain't in the mood to hear the these and thous and shalls. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to read two versions there. English Standard Version and the King James Version. So, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14 says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship with righteousness with unrighteousness, and what commune have light with dark?" And I'm gonna read the English Standard Version. "Do not be equally unyoked with unbelievers, for what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with dark?" So, just take out unbelievers and insert, what word can I say that I can insert to be used instead of unbelievers? Procrastinators. Hindrance. Haters. People are pieces of work. So, let's go in this first part. "Be ye unequally yoked together with unbelievers." Okay, well, another word we can insert in. Why do we obtain or deal with someone who's unequally yoked? We may think things were good at first. Think things are good at first. Okay. Things going at first, but then when our mindset begins to really set in on what we really want, when our mindset is on focus on this and want this and having the intentions of doing right and knowing what we want, and we end up with somebody who I like to say it's a wolf in sheep's clothing situation. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing situation. On how basically how people put on a show, a facade long enough to get to a point where they're deep in enough when their true self begins to really poke their head out of the wolf. Poke their real head out. Poke the real self out. So, even as us in the body of Christ, men and women of God, why are we being with people who are unequally yoked to us, those who don't believe the things that we believe, those who don't live the life that we live? That's being unequally yoked. We can't be with people that don't have the same mindset goals as us. We have to be, even in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, that part is talking about a renewing of the mind. That's a daily thing. But why are we still want to be okay with fellowshipping and being committed to people that don't have the same mindset as us, that don't want the same thing as us? Because just like God gives gifts and blessings, the devil do too. But here's the difference between the God's gifts and devil's gifts. Devil gives us the things that we want, but with a cost, with a price. And at the same time, it also comes with you're getting all this, but at the same time, you're really realizing along the way, you're like, where all this coming from all of a sudden? Why am I going through this? Why is my life is like a movie, for peace sake? Because we chose to deal with people that we felt that was good at first, but then the real them starts to stick out once we are dug in and deep enough in the trenches. That's how people do. So, the next part is, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? That means, why are we want to live right, do what's right, conduct ourselves in the right manner, while we dealing with people that's doing all type of wrong? And ooh, Jesus, thank you. All right. So another way with that is, why are we with and supportive with people who are doing wrong, and we know they're doing wrong? That means we're co-signing and supporting the wrong choices and the wrong decisions, rather than opening and speaking out on it, to a point that if it bothers us so much, we can say, well, I might as well step back from this. I might as well step back from this because of the fact of it doesn't sit right with me. It does not sit right with me. But we be like, nah, I'm good because of the fact that I see all this good money coming in, all this good sex coming in and all that stuff. But just because they got all this good materialistic stuff, all this money and all these things, and they can, God, sex you down real good, but when they're doing wrong, we sit there and sign off on it. Especially we're the ones they doing the damage to, we sign off on it. We literally sign off on it. Because we're like, oh, I got a good thing. I could go ahead and let him go do this and go let him do that. Or let her go do this and go let her do that. The devil is a lie. You do not have to allow stuff to continue to go on. Sometimes it may hurt to hear the truth. Because when people often ask, hey, God bless you, how you doing? Yeah, and that's exactly right. What other people do to them doesn't really affect them. Because, like I said, when they so dug into the trenches so deep, it often may or may not affect them. Like that. It affect some people, but it may not affect everybody else. So, what do I have? Why am I concerned? Why am I with somebody who's unequally yoked to me? Why am I, how am I going to say this? Why am I dealing with somebody who, God, hold on. Okay, I had to say that back. I'm going to say this. So, a saying goes, all relationships go through hell, only the real ones make it through. And there's a quote I'm going to read off that I happens to run into, and God, please direct me to the right one that you want me to say. It's actually two. It's actually true, but I'm trying to bring them up because Thank you. Here it is. One. Here's the first one. Stop chasing what your mind wants and get what your soul needs. Stop chasing what your mind wants and chase after what your soul needs. That's one. I'm explaining it. What that means is saying, why am I chasing after things that my mind wants, but it's not right with my soul? Why am I chasing the things what my mind wants, but I'm chasing what my mind wants, but not getting what my soul truly needs? Because like I said in the Bible, it says we have to be in renewing of our mind, because you may be the tool our Father is using to get that person who's around. True. So my mind is can often make us chase after the wrong things. And part of finding somebody that's equally yoked and being able to endure the things that you will have to go through as a couple, as one, because if your mindset and your end goal is marriage, if your mindset and your end goal is marriage, if you're not willing to endure some hell, then you won't make it out of it. One. Or two, we may be in it with the wrong person. So if you be if God have tendencies to show you or come in your life to tell you who's for you and who's against you, you will go through those trials. Even if you bring some matters up to your significant other, you bring them up to your significant spouse and all this, because of the fact that when you see an issue, you address the issue. When you see the issue, you address the issue. But if that person keeps constantly brushing it off, part of it, so they don't have no type of respect. They starting to show lack of respect for you because of the fact that they're brushing the issue off like it's not a big deal. But part of being committed, especially in a marriage, you have to be able to hear and listen to your significant other and your spouse. You have to be able to hear each other out. So how can the relationship really, or the marriage even really function and work, when you're refusing to listen to one another, when you refusing to hear what one another have to say, or when you bring the attention up, they think it's not a big deal, but it's a deal for you. And saying, ain't no big deal, or why are you being so jealous and all this stuff? It's not about that. You have to be willing to do something. That's a thing. That's a word that goes with this. Once you're committed, compromise. You have to be willing to compromise, whether you like it or not. We may feel like it's not no big deal, but think about how that person feels. Oops. Now I have to be considerate about how this person feels. Yes, you do. You wanted it. Now you have to be considerate, and you have to really think that somebody else is a part of your life now. If you address the issue and the issue don't get addressed and don't get handled, imagine how it's going to be when you say I do. Forever being in situations that every time we address an issue, somebody else have a problem with it. Well, actually, God just placed another scripture. Place a couple more quotes that comes to mind. And I'm just being obedient right now. Here's another one I want y'all to keep in mind. If someone is really into you, you don't have to keep begging them for a text or call or to spend time. They will do it if you are a priority. So let me give you a rundown with that one. That's saying if this person values and cherishes you and so-called appreciates you and wants to be community and loves you, they will be willing to spend the time to talk and come to a solution, because it says in the word, come, let us reason together. How can anything work if you're not willing to come together and reason? Get an understanding. Come to an agreement that you both can work on and agree on, and not just being a one-sided matter, or it's going to be a my way or the highway. Because I'm going to be real talk. Anybody come in my life and thinking it's going to be their way or it's going to be my way, it's not going to be none of that. It's going to be God's way, or it's going to be no way at all. It seems like, yes, it is. Marriage is a job, and marriage is a big responsibility, and it is a big task. Because if you're not willing to do some things, to compromise and do the things that's necessary for it to actually work, and for actually to endure the things that everything in the world throws at you, it won't last. You'll be down at the divorce. You'll be at the courthouse getting ready to go through a divorce. Oh man, there's some quotes that's coming to mind that I'm just being read and they just popping out to me. Here's something I want to say to women. That's the saying I'm going to have to say to men, to women. A man who truly loves you will never let you go, no matter how hard the situation is. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, if that man loves you, truly loves you, he'll be like, okay, babe, let's talk about, let's work this situation out. Let's do what it do, because the fact that I have a good woman in my life, I have a good man in my life. We need to sit down. We need to have this face-to-face conversation. We need to have this conversation. And let's see, we can resolve and come to agreement that we can both agree upon, and let's be able to both handle the situation, for it won't hinder us down the line. And to men, a woman truly loves you when you're angry when you be angry at you for so many things, but would never leave you. That's a later discussion, men. I'm just being given flashes of what to go into, but I'm praying that it's becoming a blessing to somebody else at the same time. And here's the clicker for you. One of the hardest decisions in our lives that we'll ever face in life is choosing rather to walk away or try harder. One of the hardest decisions we'll ever face in our lives is choosing rather to try to walk away or to try harder. Sometimes we be put in situations that often makes us want to walk away from the situation, because it's very understandable, because I put my effort in. I did 100%. I went 100% in. I expressed my concerns. I expressed my opinions about some things, on how things are going on and all stuff. And it seemed like that person don't give a crap and never addressing it, or just brushing it off with some sideways conversation or sideways saying and thinking it don't matter to you, or it don't matter. Then it gets to the point that if they're going to constantly keep brushing it off and only want to discuss the issues that they want to discuss, but don't want to discuss what's going on with you and seeing how you feel and seeing you're okay, and see if there's anything, adjustments that necessarily have to be made, then that'd be one of the times to actually walk away from the situation. It may hurt at first. It may feel awkward at first, because we're walking away for someone we invested so much time in. But why continue to invest more time into a situation when your feelings, your heart, your opinions, what goes on in your mind, your feelings are being neglected, and unappreciated? Why? These are things you really have to think about before you really get to that point. And this one pops up too. Without communication, there's no relationship. Without respect, there's no love. Without trust, there's no reason to continue. So let's go on this one right quick before I have to get off and go tend to my students. Without communication, there's no relationship. That means if you don't if you're not willing to be open and to communicate with one another, how you expect the relationship to work? How you expect the marriage to work? How you expect the relationship to work? How you expect the friendship to work if we don't communicate? Everybody's saying communication is the key. Actually, communication and comprehension is the key to hold a relationship. You have to communicate, and then you got to comprehend what's being said. Get an understanding of what's being said. That's just another way of saying for comprehension being said, using comprehension for understanding. Without respect, there's no love. That means if you don't have respect for who you have in your life, even on a friendship level, relationship, and marriage, if you don't respect it, there's no love. Because part of having love is respect. And without trust, there's no reason to continue. That means if there's no trust, there's no communication, there's no respect, ain't no point of continuing. We constantly open our hearts and communicate with our significant others or our spouses about particular subjects and particular things that we may or may not like, or what's on their mind, or what's on their soul that they want to talk about, what's on their and what's going on with them. And I'm like, hey, babe, can we talk? Even if you just listen and I just talk, there still have to be some type of communication, respect, and trust in the matter. If you're not getting that. If you was getting there at the beginning, especially because they was getting the goods and so forth, and all of a sudden all that went down the drain. No communication, no respect, no trust. The relationship is bound to break apart. Some men may get upset and get mad because I'm spitting stuff like this. I'm being honest. Because I'm tired of not only men going through it, but I'm tired of women going through it. I'm going to be honest no matter what. I'm not taking side. I say right is right, wrong is wrong. When I see it right, I say, okay, you're right about that. I hear both sides. And that's another issue we have. We don't want to hear both sides. We want to hear one side of the matter. We want to hear their side, and they expect us to run with it. But never get the other side for us to decide, oh, what's going on here? So because some people will be afraid if they hear the other side, ain't no telling what may go down or what their opinion, their thoughts may be like by the time they hear the other story. Your story, their story, and the truth. Your story, their story, and the truth. So now we have to stop. We have to start linking up, hooking up, being committed, being in an agreement, being in a promise with somebody who doesn't communicate, doesn't respect, doesn't trust, and doesn't comprehend time, effort, dedication. You can't get dedication with time, without no time and effort into it. So what I'm saying is, if you see in a situation that it seems like your life is turning into a movie, your problems are being posted on social media like it's child's play. Oh, Jesus, you really want me to go to that part, God? Okay. Your relationship doesn't need to make sense to anyone except for you and your partner. It's a relationship, not a community project. So stop putting your situations, your relationship, your marriages, the negative parts, out on social media when this problem is between you and them. They ain't gonna comprehend the situation. They're just gonna go by and make assumptions about what is going on. Everybody had their own mind. They're gonna come to their own conclusions about it. They're only gonna make a conclusion about it based upon the information that you give them. People get mad, people get upset. And then when you get back with the person, it's all hell break loose because of the fact that, guess what? You put enough negative information out there long enough for that person, for your families to react the way they react towards them. So think about that before you really decide to go on social media and post your issues. And post the problems that you and your significant other and spouse have. Because being honest, in my opinion, it's kind of disrespectful to put your significant other or your spouse issues that you're going through on social media. It's disrespectful because that's an issue between you and them. You, them, and God. Stop putting it on social media for everybody to see. And most of the people who see it more are laughing at you more than giving you the right advice, because they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you and your problems because you're posting your issues between you and your significant other and spouse. I understand if it's just your issues and you being a testimony to somebody else. That ain't nothing but the devil, because the devil get mad. So that's the thing. People are going to always going to laugh at your problems more than want to be a helping to your problems. If the person that you have in your life is starting to be is or already became a hindrance to you, and then the problem, and you address it and nothing being done about it, you might want to take your steps and move back. You may have to. You may don't like it. It may feel awkward because you said, I invested so much time in this man. I invested so much time in this woman. And now I'm asking your advice and you telling me, Minister Eric, that I might need to step back? Yes. Because the word even says, be ye not unequally yoked. It may say with unbelievers. But why would you even be in a relationship with somebody that you're a believer and they're not? Because sometimes some unbelievers can go to church just to please a believer. Oops. Some people may claim they have a relationship with God just to have a chance with you. Oops. Some believers be to a point that they'll say they are, but have you ever thought about if you being more led to the bed than led to the word of God and to prayer more? Oops. Have you ever thought about why it seems like majority of the time I want to talk about God, have a discussion God, I'm being led to the bedroom the most? Oops. Ever thought about that? We're supposed to be in the relationship field. We're supposed to be in this spiritual relationship. We're supposed to have a spiritual relationship with God. And we're supposed to have God in the midst of it. We're supposed to do things that involve God. But yet instead we're doing things we're involving the devil. That means you're happy and hyping it up with God, and all of a sudden you come home, you're sleeping it up with the devil. Oops. I know God gave us a free will and we have choices. Yes. But why are we serving two masters? Why are we living it up and doing all this with God and come home and sleeping it up with the devil at the end of the day? If the man and the woman truly say they're a man or a woman of God, they will steer you more towards God than worry about fulfilling their lustful needs. It happens. That's life. But I'm seeing this man or this woman trying to keep my head above water and keep me in God's presence and in his word with prayer and getting in the word. But why is it like it's less of God and more of lust? Less of God, more of the lustful desires. Less of God, less of prayer, more of lusting. Less of Bible reading, staying in the word, and more of fulfilling the fleshly needs. When the pros outweigh cons, when your pros outweigh your cons, find a way to work it out. But when your cons outweigh your pros, Houston, there is a problem. There is a problem. So keep in mind, be encouraged. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be with people that's equal on you, that don't have the same mindset and the same goals that you have. If you want marriage and they only want to treat you as a baby mama or just a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you might really want to reconsider your relationship. Because it takes a man 6 months into a relationship to know if he wants to make you a wife. Where it's the intentions of me making you a wife. If you're sitting there in the situation that you're in for years and you're still on stuck mode of relationship, somebody's wasting your time. I don't care who gets mad. I'm just going to keep it real. They're wasting your time. Why do we be with time wasters? While you're sitting up here proclaiming, oh, I see myself as a wife. I see myself as a husband. But you with somebody who's wasting your time by just keeping you at the boyfriend, girlfriend level or keeping you at the baby mama, baby daddy drama level. They see you as all it is, but don't even see you worthy enough to be a wife or a husband. They're wasting your time because guess what? They know that you have the mindset of a wife. They know you want the mindset of the husband, that you want to be a husband, that you want to be a wife. Hey, how you doing? That you want to be a husband, you want to be a wife. So the devil often will send somebody to be a hindrance in your life and disguise themselves as a man or woman of God. If you both say you want marriage, work towards it. Go to marriage counseling. Work towards it, actually. Put the effort into it. Yes. Bring it up. I don't care if I'll be to a point, I tell some people, I don't care if you treat it as an ultimatum. Keep in mind, I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm going to wrap this up, and I got to go to my students. So, what I'm saying is, bring it up. Let them know, hey, this is my intentions. This is what I really want. If you want it, then we can go ahead and talk to a pastor or whoever to do marriage counseling, because trust and believe. Also, I encourage people to do marriage counseling because 2 reasons. To see if you're really compatible to be married. 1. 2, here's another thing that most people don't take. If you do marriage counseling, you get a discount when you go purchase your marriage license. Instead of coughing up nearly $100 for it, you're only coughing up like $60-something. So that's another reason. Now, conclusion. Should I stay or should I go? I should stay if the things get right. If things get back on track like the way they're supposed to. Not just long enough for you to shut your mouth about it. I mean consistency. But I should go when things ain't going right. I should go because I'm being more disrespected. I should go because I'm not being heard. I should go because you're not wanting the same things that I want. I should go because I want marriage and you're just treating me as a boyfriend, girlfriend. I understand your kids are a priority when it comes down to a relationship. But what's your priority going to be when you ever say I do? Your priority is going to be switched around. Besides God, your wife, your husband is your second priority, whether you like it or not. Go cry me a river. That's how another reason why divorces go on, because people got jacked up priorities even in a marriage. They put the wrong things before their husband and wife. Only person I understand putting before your wife is God. And God speaks about that in the Word. So, should I stay or should I go? Looking at the situations, looking at the pros and cons, looking at how I'm being treated, looking at how the situations are being played out, looking at how my feelings and my mind and everything is being disrespected and unappreciative, I should go. Or even to a point, cut some things off that you normally do until they get their act together, or they got to go bye-bye. All right, but I hope that I pray to help somebody out. This is your one and only Facebook minister, Minister Eric Robinson Jr. I pray that I encourage people. All I ask people to do is just like, share, comment the best way they can, and mostly share, because it may help somebody else out when needed. Y'all know I wrap my session saying I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in today. Y'all have a God bless morning, afternoon, evening, and night. God bless y'all. I love y'all. If y'all want any advice or you need someone to talk to, or if you ever want me to do a heart-to-heart talk or a Bible study session, please don't hesitate to hit me up in my comment, my posts, or in my inbox. Trust and believe, I don't have no problem going into the Word, taking the time going into the Word and studying on what your situation is. Y'all have a God bless day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love y'all. Peace.